This is the Louie T Network.
Man, I love some football. Man, I love some football. My favorite week is week 1, cause I'm watching football. First comes the preseason, and I don't take a day off. And then it gets even better when your team makes the playoffs. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. 32 teams go hard for one thing. They work for one thing. That Super Bowl ring. We in the lab room.
Your man, Louie T. Welcome. You are in the lab room. Of course, I'm your host, Lou. Thank you for joining me. Week number 16 in the National Football League. Wednesday edition of In the Lab Room. We're coming down the stretch of the 2014-15 NFL season, or at least the regular portion of the season. And for those of you who are lucky enough to have a team still in the hunt, congrats for getting this far in the season, and hopefully your team is able to cross the finish line as one of the first 12 participants. Remember, 6 in the NFC, 6 in the AFC, grand total of 12. If your team can cross that finish line as one of the first 12, you get a ticket to the dance and you get to play some bonus football. For the rest of us who know our team isn't playing past week 17, it's almost done. You got 2 weeks left to watch your boys play some football, and then all the off-season stuff takes place. Draft, free agency, maybe you're losing a head coach, getting a new one. Who knows what's going on? All I know is enjoy it while it's here. I say that all the time. Don't take football for granted, because once it's gone for 6 months, and you got to find a new way to fill your time. And so enjoy it while it's still here. But it's Wednesday. For those of you who have seen this program before, welcome back. For those of you who have not, welcome to the program. Thank you for joining me. We're jumping to some PDS, Pats, Daps, Smacks a little bit later on in the show. But first, of course, it's the sole survivor of week 16. I've handed out gem after gem after gem all season long. I've given you one dud. That was the tie between Carolina and Cincinnati. Thought Cincinnati would take care of business. They didn't. And so that was my one hiccup this season. They played to a draw. What more can I say? But I've given you gem after gem after gem. Last week I gave you Baltimore. Thought the Baltimore Ravens would dispose of the Jaguars a little bit easier than what they did. But hey, doesn't matter. They got that W, man. That's all that matters. And so gave you another winner, looking to do the same this week, get you to week 17. So without any further ado, you know how this goes. It's fast paced. It's in your face. This is the Sole Survivor of week number 16 in the National Football League. Here we go. We start with Thursday Night Football. Jacksonville Jaguars at home, taking on the Tennessee Titans. Family business, 2 win teams? Absolutely not. Move on to Saturday action. Yes, we got Saturday football, folks. Philadelphia Eagles at the Washington Redskins. Family business. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, well, that's family business. Redskins riding a 6-game skid. Eagles riding a 2-game loser streak. Stay away, okay? These two teams will hurt you. Move on. You look at San Diego at San Francisco. 49ers don't like to score points. Let me let you in on a little secret. Chargers don't like to score points lately either. Don't do it. Don't do it. Wouldn't be prudent. Move on to Sunday football, man. Detroit at Chicago. More family business. Move on. You look at the next matchup, Minnesota at Miami. The Vikings playing some of the best football they've played all season long at 6-8. They're trying to get to 500. Dolphins at 7-7 probably have seen their postseason hopes go by the wayside, but hey, you can't tell them that. They're probably going to come out and try to play the best game they've played all season. I'm not messing with this game. Move on, please. You go to the next matchup, Atlanta at New Orleans. Look, these are two sub-500 teams. What's the rule? Plus, it's family business, but what's the rule? Don't trust a sub-500 team to do anything for you. Next game, please. New England at the Jets. New England at the Jets. Doom. Last time these two teams played, 27-25. Patriots barely escaped. Look, Rex might be on his way out the door. These boys are still playing hard for him. Rex would love nothing more than the exit stage left with another W. Just a swan song W over Bill Belichick and Brady on his way out the door. This is nasty, trap game, family business at its best. Leave it alone. You move on to the next game. Kansas City Chiefs taking on the Pittsburgh Steelers in Pittsburgh. Look, the Steelers have been one of the biggest enigmas all season long. Just when you think they're on track and they get it, they go home and they lose to somebody that you don't think they're supposed to lose to. Kansas City got a big win against the Raiders last week, snapped their 3-game losing streak. Look, this game, anything can happen. Huge playoff implications. No. So you move on to the next matchup, Green Bay at Tampa Bay. I said you move on to the next matchup, Green Bay at Tampa Bay. I said you move on to the next matchup, Green Bay at Tampa Bay. You know what this sounds like to me? Sounds like a winner chicken dinner. Now you know, normally I tend to stay away from road teams. But I'm gonna make an exception to the rule this time. Go ahead, keep the party going. Give me the Green Bay Packers to go on the road and dust off the only team in the National Football League without a home victory to their name. I'm talking about the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This team is not good enough offensively nor defensively to handle all the things that the Green Bay Packers bring to the table. And oh, by the way, the Packers are pissed. They went to Buffalo last week, weren't able to get it done, and really a lot of self-inflicted wounds. They're upset, they're mad, somebody's got to pay. And that somebody just happens to be the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. This is a gimme right here. They're giving us a gift. It's Christmas time. Why not accept the gift that keeps on giving? I'm talking about Green Bay going to Tampa Bay and winning. But just in case you don't think this is the best option, we'll move on the rest of the slate of games in Week 16, run through them quickly so that we can come back to square one. Green Bay getting a W over Tampa Bay. Let's do it. Cleveland at Carolina. Look, the Panthers are struggling trying to get into the postseason through the back door. The Browns are just like, hey, can't we just find a way to get all our ducks lined up? Can we get Jonathan Football to play some good offensive football? Can we get the defense to stop the run? They don't know what's going on, but they're still 7-7. Carolina's still trying to get into the postseason. No, not doing that. So you move on to the next game, Baltimore at Houston. Look, the Texans, they're a mess. Thad Lewis or Case Keenum might start at quarterback for them, but they still got Arian Foster. And the Ravens struggled with Jacksonville last week. I'm not doing that. I'm not hitching my wagon to the Baltimore Ravens 2 weeks in a row when those boys struggled with Jacksonville last week. I don't think so. Next game up, Giants at the St. Louis Rams. The Rams let me down last week. I thought the Rams for sure was going to take care of Arizona. I said, now, if they could just find a way to not turn the ball over, which they did, turn the ball over, and they lost. I said, man, you guys are at home, and the Cardinals struggling to score points. They lose their quarterback midway through the third quarter, and they still couldn't find a way to win. That's rough. Now they got the Giants coming with ODB. Shame on you when you step to the old dirty Beckham. Good luck. You're going to need it. That young fella is special. But with that being said, that's not a game I'm not even discussing. I'm moving on to the next one. Indy at Dallas. These are two playoff teams, two 10-win teams. Really? Are we even talking about this? We having this discussion? No, we're not. Moving on to the next game. Buffalo at Oakland. You said to yourself, damn, Buffalo beat Green Bay last week. Oakland, 2-win team. You really think Buffalo can't go into Oakland and clean those boys up? Sure they can. But do you know that to be a fact? What's the one thing I've said about Oakland all year long? I said Oakland will always have a chance against a team that can't score points. What do the Bills do? Struggle to score points. Now, the thing that's going to save the Bills probably in this game is the fact that the Bills, they play some elite level defense. They're going to get it after the 4-car. The 4-car is probably going to turn it over twice, maybe 3 times, and the Bills are going to win this game. However, they don't score points on their own merit offensively. That's why the Raiders have a chance. That's why you need to leave this game right where it's at and move on to the next game, which is a Sunday Night Football special. NFC West family business. If these two teams say they ain't did it, then they ain't did it. But if they did, that's family business. Arizona Cardinals, Seattle Seahawks, NFC West division on the line. If the Cardinals win, they win the division. If the Cardinals lose, they could lose everything. One fell swoop. Does that sound like a game that needs to be even discussed as your sole survivor for Week 16? Denver at Cincinnati. I said Denver at Cincinnati. Division winner of the AFC West in the Denver Broncos. Division leader of the AFC North, Cincinnati Bengals. I'm going to let you think about that one real quick. And while you're thinking, I'm going to go back to square one. Green Bay Packers going to Tampa Bay. They're going to Tampa Bay with a plan at hand, which is to destroy these boys at the drop of a hat. As soon as they blow the whistle, kick off the football, this game is over. Packers are going to dominate from start to finish, get this W, take it back to Lambeau, and set up shop for a big-time matchup, Week 17 versus the Detroit Lions. They are going to smoke these boys. So once you get on board, so we can go ahead and ride the Packers train all the way to Week 17. Does it sound like a winner to you? Because it sounds like a winner to me. Green Bay Packers over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, Week 16. They are your sole survivor! And so, that's going to do it for the sole survivor of week number 16. Take a quick break, come right back, and jump into some PDX.
Social media has taken off in ways that I couldn't have imagined. And thus, I've taken the liberty to start being more active on social media. So like me on Facebook at In the Lab Room. Follow me on Twitter at In the Lab Room. You can also +1 me on Google Plus at Louie T. And also, of course, my main hub, subscribe to my channel on YouTube. That's youtube.com/In the Lab Room. These are all ways that I'm looking forward to interacting with you, the viewers, in the upcoming season of the Louie T Network.
Welcome back to the program. You are now tuned in to PDS, Pats, Daps, and Smacks here in the Lab Room. Thank you again for joining me. Today we're going to do it a little different. We're going to start with some Pats. We're going to move on to some Smacks. Then we're going to come back to some Dap. And then we're going to finish up with one special Smack. All right, so let's pat up a couple of cats. And first, let's start with, and I haven't done this all year long, so what I'm doing today is I'm actually going to pat a couple of people on the back that are going to need it in the upcoming week. Normally, this is something that happens from the past week's action. This is more about guys that are going to need pats on the back moving forward because it's going to be rough for them moving forward in the season. We start with DeMarco Murray. Here's a guy leading the league in rushing yards. Probably could hit 2,000 yards if he's able to break off some big games down the stretch against Indy and the Washington Redskins. Currently at 1687 if I'm not mistaken. A couple of big games, that man can hit 2,000 yards rushing on the season. He's been extraordinary for the Cowboys all year long. And really, he deserves some dap. He really does. But he's got a broken hand. Probably wouldn't be the best idea to dap a man up with a broken hand. So I'll just pat him on his back. He's talking about playing this week with a nice little cast and some steel on his hand to try to protect it. I don't know if I would do that if I were you, but hey, if you're going to do it, man, best of luck to you. Not going to dap you up. Doesn't sound like a good idea, but I'll pat you on your back and say, a job well done. And if you tough it out, man, more power to you, DeMarco. More power to you. You move on to another guy that's going to need a pat on the back, and he really is going to need this pat on the back. Ryan Lindley. Here's a guy, last time we saw him starting for this Arizona Cardinals team, it was a train wreck. It was a travesty. It was grotesque in every way imaginable. Now, he's had a couple of years to sit down and watch how the game is supposed to be played. Maybe he's better than the last time we seen him. I don't know if he's better or not, but he better be on his best behavior come Week 16 Sunday Night Football, because the Seattle Seahawks are coming to town, and they've got their eyes set on the prize that the Arizona Cardinals are currently holding in their hands. That's that title belt of the NFC West, and they want to take it back with them to CenturyLink. And if they're going to hold on to it, that being the Arizona Cardinals, this guy here, Ryan Lindley, going to have to play the game of his life. First of all, can't turn it over. Second of all, he's going to have to make throws when they're there. And third of all, he's going to have to make sure that he stays healthy, because there aren't any other options on this roster. And they already said the young fella out of Vatek is going to have a couple of sub packages and plays for him in this game. I don't care. You do not want him in the game because he's a rookie, and we know what happens to rookies. When they get in, they get wide-eyed, and these defenses start swarming. Seahawks are playing their best football of the season defensively. Good luck, Mr. Lindley. You're going to need it. Here's a pat on the back, man. I don't know if it's going to help you or not, but good luck, Chief. You're going to need it. That's for the division title. Good luck. And finally, Jarrell Casey, my man, Jarrell Casey. This dude is a beast. First of all, for those of you who don't know who Jarrell Casey is, defensive tackle of the Tennessee Titans. The man is a beast, okay? Led the team in tackles. Last year, led all interior defensive tackles with sacks last year. And this year, man's been balling again for a Tennessee Titans team that isn't very good. Now, something happened with him and Geno Smith during a game, and a brawl ensued. Luckily enough for Jarrell, he didn't get thrown out of the game, but he was ready to take on the entire Jet squad. And they all came after him. He mushed Geno in the face with a nice, strong... And look, from one grown man to another, there's nothing worse you can do than mush me in my face. Maybe spit in my face, but that's nasty. I'm talking about just utter disrespect. You know, spitting, that's on a different level. You know, I might have to kill you, you spit in my face. That's something told. That's really, really nasty. That's one of the most vile things another human being could do to somebody else. I'm talking about just pure disrespect, though. You know, come mush me in my face. You know, come get in my face and then just do that. For another man to put his whole hand, palm of his whole hand in your face. Disrespect. All right? And he did that to Geno Smith. Geno just took it back the way like, hey, I ain't do nothing. Whole offensive line of the Jets squatted up on my man Jarrell. And he was like, bet, let's do it. And he started fighting every single one of those boys. Jarrell, I know it's been a rough season. Okay, when you only win 2 games, there's a lot of pent-up frustration. I get it. But I need you to calm down, man. I need you to relax. Woosah. Calm down, buddy. Relax. I'll give you a pat on the back, man. It's going to be okay. You probably won't win another game this season, but I need you to keep calm. And don't fight anybody else, man. Relax. Keep calm and keep taking those ass whoopings in Tennessee. Relax. I'll pat you on your back, man. It's going to be okay. Trust me. It's going to be okay. Season's almost over. You're almost out of your misery. Relax. Keep calm. And keep taking those ass whoopings in Tennessee. Relax. So, we move on to some smacks, man. And of course, we got to go straight to the source, man. One of the biggest ass whoopings taken in Week 15 was that of the Cleveland Browns, and man, was it ugly. Those boys were flashing money signs and cash signs all over the place. I felt bad for Jonathan, but then I said, no, I don't. He brought this on himself. You know how it is. When you're a marketing genius and you do what what Jonathan Laces did coming into the league and just basically came in with all the hoopla, flashing the cash sign, you're going to have that kind of backlash. You know how NFL players are. They make a play against you. If you do something all the time, they're going to taunt you with your own celebration. So he had to know that was coming. But to come out and play, and the reason why this isn't just a Johnny Manziel smack is because the entire Cleveland Browns football team was a disgrace in this game. When you lose 30-0 at the crib, that's a total team loss. That's not a one-player loss. Because when you get your ass whooped and it's one guy doing a lot of the bad stuff in the game, you can still find a way to generate some points on the scoreboard. But when you get beat up like they did in this game, man, that's tough to stomach. They got ran on. I mean, Jeremy Hill and the Cincinnati Bengals rushing attack stomped a mud hole in the Cleveland Browns. And that's been a sore spot for this Browns team all year long. They haven't been able to stop the run. They didn't in this game. Allowed Cincinnati to control time of possession. And Jonathan Football was god-awful at quarterback. They didn't run the football themselves, did the Browns, to take any pressure off of them. It was just a bad day at the office for the Browns altogether. And for that, you get smacked. And so, hopefully, Week 2 of Jonathan Football starting is much better than Week 1 was. They're at Carolina. That's a team looking to get into the postseason. Defensively, they've been playing better of late, but I'm still not sold on the Carolina Panthers defensively. Let's see what you're made of next week at Carolina. You're going to need some luck, but I'm not here to wish you good luck. I'm here to smack you for that crap you did in Week 15. Tighten up. You move on to the Miami Dolphins. I'm so upset with the Dolphins. That was so disappointing on so many different levels because, first of all, you beat this Patriots team before, so I know you can do it. All right, that's number one. Number two, I always say this before the season starts, if anybody's going to dethrone the Dragons and slay the Dragons in the AFC East, it's the Miami Dolphins. We know the Patriots run that division. They've won it 6 years running strong. Nobody seems to challenge them year in, year out. And the only team that's not afraid of them is the Jets annually. Now, the Dolphins aren't afraid of them. Dolphins beat them last year, beat them this year, but they don't beat them in Foxborough. I knew it was going to be tough. I knew that. We all did. But the thing that I didn't expect was a 41-13 ass whooping, especially when the score is 14-13 at the halftime break. For you to just melt down like, I'm melting. For you to melt like you did in the second half, disgraceful. And I am ashamed of you because I thought that you learned your lesson from last year. Remember you had a meltdown last year? I'm melting. Remember you had that meltdown last year? You had the playoffs right in the palm of your hand and you went to Buffalo, got shut out, went home the next week and let the Jets send you behind home at the end of the season with a loss. I said, you learned from that last year. What did you do? What did you do? You were in the playoffs just a week ago. You were actually in the playoffs and you had everybody on the outside looking in. And what did you do last week? You let Baltimore come in your house, smack you around to the tune of 28-13. Then you go to New England the next week and you let those boys stomp a mud hole in you 41-13. I'm so ashamed of the Dolphins right now. I don't know what to say to those boys. So when I'm out of words, when I don't know what to say, I start using my hands. So take a smack that way and take another one that way. Damn, Miami. Damn. You move on to some, and this isn't even a team right here. The officials had a rough week. I'm disappointed in the officials, man. If you watch football all across the league, the officials dropped the football this week. Now, some of the calls were correct. I get it. Doesn't mean I agree with it, okay? So let me run down the catalog of problems and issues I had with the officials this week, okay? So one, The Redskins game. Robert Griffin III looks to have scored right before the half as time expires on a diving play into the end zone to give the Redskins a 17-7 lead. They go look at the monitor. Jeff Triplett comes out and says the ball was fumbled. He lost control before he crossed the pylon. He needed to regain possession and maintain it throughout the play. It is not a touchdown. It is a touchback. Giants football. It's halftime. Okay, well look, it's the right call. I get it. It's a dumb rule. It should have been a touchdown. I don't like the call. I'm blaming, even though the officials didn't do anything wrong, I'm blaming the officials there. That's garbage. Okay, but let's move on to some things that you can actually argue, because that technically was the right call. Still garbage, and I don't agree with it, but nonetheless, how about the Jets game? You got Geno Smith in the end zone. He throws the football as he's about to be sacked for a safety. They call it a fumble on the field. It's recovered by the Jets. They're about to punt. And they say, oh, Tennessee's like, no way. He threw that football. That should be intentional grounding. That should be a safety. I want my 2 points. So they go and look at it, and they come back and say, you know what? That was an incomplete pass. Had we known it was an incomplete pass, it would have been a safety. So we're going to go ahead and give you 2 points for that. Wait a minute. You can't do that. You can't go call. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't triple stamp a double stamp. No, yeah, so, no. No, you can't triple stamp a double stamp. You can't go back to instant replay and call a penalty when it wasn't called on the field. Where they do that at? Now, I got further clarification on how that works, and had it been an incomplete pass on the field, they would have called intentional grounding and therefore would have been a safety, but it didn't happen. So I don't want to hear all of that nonsense. That was another one of those, what just happened there? Another tough one for the officials. Then you go to a couple of egregious calls, all right? Ones that just really piss me off. You got the Seattle Seahawks, San Francisco 49ers game. Nick Moody, linebacker for the San Francisco 49ers, plants Russell Wilson with a shot in the pocket as he's delivering the football on a third down. Mind you, at the time, the score is 7-10, Seahawks up. If they don't complete this pass, which he doesn't, because of the shot that Nick Moody delivers on third down, they're going to have to kick a field goal. It's going to be 13-7. A touchdown still wins the 49ers the game. It's been a defensive struggle all day long, so that's going to be crucial to hold them to a field goal and keep it a one-score game. A touchdown in this possession extends the lead out to 10 at 17-7. 49ers are going to be down 2 scores. For a team that struggles to score points, you can go ahead and wrap it up. So Nick Moody plants Russell Wilson. It was not late. He uses his face mask and puts it right into his chest. Lays him out, clean hit, as clean as it can get in this league. And a flag is thrown. Unbelievable. Same exact thing happened in the Atlanta Falcons-Pittsburgh Steelers game. Jason Worlds gets around the edge. The right tackle fans for the Atlanta Falcons. Jason World then gets a clean shot on Matt Ryan and deposits him into the turf. Matt Ryan does not get up for a little while. Here comes the yellow flag. Why? Why is this a penalty? Because Matt Ryan didn't get up. But it was a clean shot, just like the Nick Moody shot. It was not late. It was not egregious. Face mask straight into the chest. Boom! Drives into the turf. If there was an instructional video on how to hit a quarterback in the pocket, those 2 hits would be featured on the NFL instructional video. So for a flag to be thrown in those 2 instances, garbage. And so both of those flags led to touchdowns, by the way, and both of those plays were on third downs. So those officials dropped the football in their respective games. The officials, I thought, had a tough week as a whole. For that, officials, come on, we're getting close to the postseason. Get your act together, man. And finally, there's one more smack, but I'm going to save him to the end. Let's go to some Daps, man. A lot of people deserve some Dap in week number 16. You start with a couple of receivers in the NFC East doing their damn thing on the national stage. You look at Dez Bryant, my man, Dez ate up up the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday Night Football. 3 touchdowns on these boys, well over 100 yards. Carved them up like Swiss cheese in that secondary. That boy is bad. I always say, Des Bryant, that boy is bad. And he looked like a handful that the Eagles wanted no part of in that secondary. Man, I don't know where the Cowboys would be without him and DeMarco Murray. That boy Des, that boy is the truth. Let me go ahead and dap Des Bryant up for dapping up those Philadelphia Eagle defenders and smacking them around in their skulls. 3 touchdowns en route to a 38-27 victory for the Cowboys that sees them lead the NFC East. Big ups to my man Des Bryant for doing his damn thing against the Philadelphia Eagles when it matters the most. You look at another dude in the NFC East just balling out of his brains right now. Shame on you when you step to the old dirty Beckham. Odell Beckham Jr. This dude is ridiculous right now. 12 catches, 143 yards, 3 touchdowns on the Washington Redskins in a 24-13 victory. Now what that says is he accounted for all 3 touchdowns that the Giants scored in that game. You go, boy. You go. That young man right now setting the league on fire. And when you set the league on fire, I give you the kind of dap that turns your hand red. ODB, shame on you for what you did to the Redskins on Sunday. Dude, shame on you for what you did to the Redskins secondary. Big time dap for my man, ODB. That young fella there, he's a problem. You move on to some teams that deserve some dap. How about the New England Patriots, man? Those boys assaulted a family member, and you know, it always is a little troubling to me when you assault a family, because if you do that to a family member, what happens when it's a stranger? What happens when it's Kansas City? What happens when it's Oakland? What happens when it's Baltimore? What happens when it's the St. Louis Rams or the Washington Redskins or the New York Giants? What happens when it's the Tennessee Titans? If you'll do that to a family member, if you will assault them, if you will take their pride, their manhood, and their dignity and squash it right in front of their face, if you'll do that to a family member, what will you do to an outsider? That was so hurtful what the Patriots did to the Dolphins. Not only did they beat the brakes off those boys, not only did they drop them to 500 on the season, they basically put their season on ice. You're done. I'm retiring you for the 2014-2015 season. Your postseason hopes, I'm stepping on them, along with any other hopes you may have had of making any kind of run late in the season. I'm stepping on them. Man, New England, give me some disrespecting a family member like that, man. Y'all get out of here with that nonsense, acting crazy around family. We all family here, man. Y'all know those boys. You ain't got to do them like that, man. But you did. And I loved it. Buffalo Bills. Come on, another AFC East team, man. Y'all come up here and get some love, man. Beating the Green Bay Packers like y'all did, man. Those boys were hot, man. When I say hot, they were playing some hot football. They came into a cold environment, man. And y'all boys had to let them know. I don't know what you're used to. I don't know what you've been doing. But we do things a little differently here in Orchard Park, New York. I don't know if you've been told what we do to quarterbacks, how we beat them up, how we force turnovers, but you'll learn if you don't already know. And so they should have ran the football. We tried to tell them, hey, run the football. It'll be in your best interest. Nah, man. A-Rod said, I got this. I can handle these boys. Buffalo said, okay, that's fine. Don't worry about it. Backs up against the wall. Win or go home. And the Bills said, hey, I'm not done having fun yet, man. The party's just getting started. I got the Raiders next week. I can't lose this game. My season can't be over yet. I got the Raiders next week, man. It's time to party. Up in Oakland, man. No, I can't lose. And so they didn't lose. They just went out there, smacked A-Rod up, had the receivers dropping passes left and right, picked him off twice, no touchdown passes. Salute. That's respect, Buffalo. That's respect on the highest level. You know why? You just swept that whole division. All of those boys. It's 2 10-win teams in that division. You swept that whole division up. Respect, Buffalo. Respect. You move on to the Arizona Cardinals. Look, man, I don't know what else to say. What more can I say about the 11-3 Arizona Cardinals? I don't know what else to say, man. These boys done it all. You know what I'm going to say? I'm going to tell you what a man told me. Ghost, my man Ghost, okay? One of the funniest dudes I know, okay? Ghost is a guy that is a huge Arizona Cardinals fan. He's part of the TTC. I think he is. I'm not sure. Either way, Ghost talks the most trash you've ever seen of anybody on my channel, period. It's not even up for discussion. All right? Dude is hilarious, okay? I get a chuckle out of him every single time. All right? And I just know when he gets into it with somebody, he's behind his keyboard laughing his ass off because he's getting under your skin, you're getting mad, and you're typing, and he's laughing because he's got you. You're mad now. You're upset, all right? But the dude is funny. He's hilarious. I get a chuckle out of Ghost. And Ghost, you know what Ghost told me? And I think this sums it up perfectly. I don't have to say anything else. The man sent me a message, okay, about Bruce Arians and his Cardinals team. Just keep in mind, they won 12-6 on the road with a third-string quarterback. Where they do that at, man? Where did they do that at? Show me. He said, listen to what he said, okay? He said Bruce Arians is Moses because he's leading people who have been lost in the desert for over 30 years. Did you hear what I just said? The man said to me. The man said to me, Bruce Arians is Moses, leading people who have been lost in the desert for 30 years. Leading people who have been lost out in the desert for over 30 years. This man, Bruce Arians, is leading these boys. Wowzers! That's a strong statement, but it's so true. It's so true, man, because I don't know where this team is without Bruce Arians. I don't know where this team is at without Todd Bowles, because together those two put their brains together and found a way, despite all the injuries, despite all of the suspensions and what may have you, despite all of the guys who aren't on the field that are supposed to be, this Cardinals team has found a way to 11-3. Boy, these Cardinals, man, I just got to dap these boys up for everything you've done, and to go on the road against a red-hot St. Louis Rams team and hold them to 6 points in their crib and beat them with 4. Who else is winning with 4 field goals? That's so thug. When you take a team and you say, I'm not even scoring a touchdown tonight, and I'm going to still win. Gosh, that's so thug. That's gangster right there. 4 field goals at your crib and walk away with a win. Boy, that's special. 11-3 special. You go, Cardinals. Y'all go. And Cincinnati Bengals, I don't dap these boys up often, but when I do, I prefer to dap them up when they win big on the road against the Cleveland Browns. 30-point victory, 30-0 shutout. That was impressive. And it was a little bit of get back for what they did to them on a Thursday night on national television when they dusted them 24-3 at their own crib. So this was a little bit of get back, and they were flashing the cash signs all around the field and really making Johnny feel welcome in the National Football League. Not. They gave him a whole rude welcoming to the NFL, and that's one he'll never forget. That was a nice, solid, red ass whooping, the kind that leave a couple of lashes on your butt. Your butt is just nice and red, and it's stinging hard to sit down after that one. And that was family. And again, like I said with New England, when you do that, when you assault a family, and look, This is 2 times as bad as what New England did. You know why? Because not only was this family business, not only was this a family member, this was an intrastate family member. So this is a family member right up the street. So I can look at you from my house, get on my little telescope, I can see your house from my house, and you did this to me? I know where to send the cops. I'm going to send them right over to your house. Yes, cops, they assaulted me. It was them. That team with the black stripes on their helmets. It was them. Arrest them, officer. That was wrong. And for that was so wrong, I'm going to give you some strong dap. Cincinnati, that's what's up. You move on to a dap that I have omitted. And I feel like I owe this to not only this player, but his family and the entire Kansas City Chiefs football team. And I just wanted to let him know and everybody else know that we're praying for Eric Berry. I haven't touched on this. I should have before, but I haven't. But he's got Hodgkin's lymphoma, a form of cancer. He found out about it after the Oakland Raiders game on that Thursday night when they lost. Had a little bit of discomfort in his chest. They gave him some x-rays. They found something and they gave him an MRI. They were able to discover that he had some cancerous cells and a lump, in his chest. So now they're going through the process of chemo, and he's trying to go ahead and battle that lymphoma. And I just want to say that myself, I can't speak for anybody else. I'm praying for you, man, and I hope that you're able to. It's not even about football anymore, man. It's about life. And I think sometimes we as people take life for granted, and sometimes it's just the little things, man. And not to have something like football taken away from you for now, it's really minuscule on the scale of life. And I just want him and the Chiefs and his family to know we're all praying for you, man. And Eric Berry deserves some doubt. Hey, get well, man, and keep fighting. Hope you win that battle. I know you'll win that battle. And finally, I got one final smack to hand out, and this is a special one. When I pull out the blue glove and I'm handing out a Blue Lagoon special, somebody done pissed me the hell off. But you know what? It ain't even about what they did this week. It's just a total accumulation of what they've done all season. And to me, I think if I go back in the archives, what you'll find is that I've had to slap this team more so than anybody else. And I'm at the point now where I'm just sick and tired of smacking them. So I'm going to smack them one last time for old time's sake, and then we just go move on and leave these boys alone. I'm talking about the Chicago Bears, man, and they're a mess. That nonsense that they put forth on Monday night versus the Saints, that was garbage. And it's bad when the commentators voice their displeasure about how bad the action on the field is. And John Gruden and Mike Tirico was like, man, this Bears team is bad. And it's real bad. And it's bad when one of your coaches, one of your trusted confidants, Aaron Cromer, goes to the media and says, hey, man, Jay Cutler, he be changing my plays. He's changing protection. It's all wrong. He don't know what the hell he do. So basically, you threw the man under the bus. Now, it probably was true, but it's a mess in Chicago. Your head coach, Mark Tresman, has no idea what's going on, man. Nobody's listening to this dude. He doesn't have the pulse of this team. He seems like he's a little soft to me. Not like soft in a soft way. I'm talking about they just trampling over the dude. They do what they want to do, and he doesn't have their ear. They're not paying him any attention. You can tell the product on the field, garbage. This team probably won't win another game this season. They're bad. And I'm just tired of talking to the Bears, man. I really am. I mean, the score was 24-0 before they finally got on the scoreboard in the game on Monday night. And that was in garbage time. Saints had their game well in hand the entire time. It was all bad, man. It was a tough watch. And this Bears team was supposed to be good this year, and they're just not. And Mark Tresman probably going to get fired. I'm just tired of talking to the Bears, man. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put these boys down with a nice Blue Lagoon special.